magistrate reached a verdict. I have guilty or innocent. Spare me this mockery of justice.
Anyway, I don't want to harp on it too bad. Like, Bendis is fine. You know, he's just, I've had enough.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You want some fucking good Bendis? Treat yourself to Torso. Get into his true crime mode.
I've never read those. Have you ever read? I guess you've read those.
I have those. Yeah, I have a couple of them. I have 3 or 4.
Interesting.
Yeah, when I was younger, I found Torso captivating. It's like a fucking Bible-size graphic novel.
Yeah, that's what kind of put him on the map.
Yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. And then I have a couple of his other ones, and then I want to say he did some Spider-Man. Am I mistaken?
He did Daredevil. Oh no, sorry, he did Ultimate Spider-Man. You're right, of course.
Yeah, and maybe that's where I read a bit, and then I was like, this isn't good, and then I just kind of like moonwalked away from Bendis after that.
Yeah. I followed his whole Daredevil run and his Avengers run. I read that whole fucking thing. And the Daredevil was really great, and then the Avengers was fine. Skrull invasion and all that stuff.
That's all serviceable.
Yeah,
espionage.
Yeah.
Good.
Really, so anyway, Bendis, check him out, everyone.
Bendis and Rucka, very okay guys.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about first? We want to do Age of Apocalypse first, or?
Yeah.
What do you got? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about the fucking Age of Apocalypse. I make enough Age of Apocalypse. If anybody out there listens to this podcast anymore, there's at least 5 of you that maybe still catch an episode here and there. And if you're listening to this one, I make enough Age of Apocalypse fucking jokes. I must take a stab at that, once at least per podcast.
At least when we talk about the X-Men.
Yeah. Because it's a running gag about how bad it is, right?
Yeah, but okay. So having said that, there's some, you also love the Age of Apocalypse, and it's not bad. I've gone through all the books. Bipping around, and I've been listening to Jay and Miles explain the X-Men. They just coincidentally got around to starting the Age of Apocalypse because they're reviewing every storyline chronologically. I don't know. Just listening to it and reading it a bit, I was like, this is okay. I can see why.
Yeah, you're right. And the idea is to shift gears that dramatically, to be let's commit to a run, to a complete run, with every X book series running in parallel with a dead Professor Xavier and a world torn and taken over by Apocalypse, and let's put that story into drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's good. That's a full. It's a full 180. It's something off the grid, right? It's not the I don't have to fucking read a reboot of the X-Men again. It was fresh. It was. I don't know.
It felt definitely it's different. I don't want to say that it's fresh, because ultimately it's a sales ploy. Because what does it do? Obviously it's a big event. Which always increase sales.
You think that we added anime artists to the Days of Future Past?
Yes. Yeah. That sums it up a lot. That sums up a lot better than I was going to put it. I just know that the X-Men in particular, the fetishism of Apocalypse, and I don't mean the character, I mean the concept, the fetishism of Holocaust, and I don't mean that as the character either. But they happen to be the names of characters in these stories. It's almost too obvious what they were going for. They were just people who love X-Men, they love Days of Future Past. They constantly masturbate and think about the Senator Kelly's assassination and the future death camps to come. So let's just give it to them.
Wow, you're attributing some masturbation to that too, eh?
Yeah, I think so. I think that
It's a real boner inspiring.
Yeah, and
It's a,
yeah, I don't know. And I think when COVID hit, I think we were talking a little bit about how people imagine the apocalypse to be and how much it thrills us and how many stories we've read about it. And this is another example of that.
it is. You're right. That does thrill me. The idea
Yeah.
of an apocalypse.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
know
weird.
why.
Yeah, it's just a safe way of exploring hell, I guess.
Yeah. Do you know what really sucks? This is totally offbeat, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it.
Sure.
180 to this. Man,
Uh-huh.
imagine being Brian Hickman and having the biggest rock hard boner run of X-Men in like almost our lifetimes, and having it be like, oh, fucked by COVID.
Oh yeah, I guess it is a little.
Oh man, way to lose your stride, buddy. You're not. There's no coming back from this.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I haven't read one of those issues in a while.
Yep.
And
they're not even putting new issues out anymore. You can kiss that fucking arc goodbye. There's no.
Yeah.
You could go ahead and try and pick up some steam. Maybe put fucking Logan on the cover. Ooh, good luck.
Oh shit!
No one
I hadn't
cares
thought about
anymore.
that.
Yeah. Sometimes you lose fucking ground on stuff like this, man. Think of I don't know, like a season of a TV show, and think of them having a delay and then releasing like a half season or something. Like, kiss that shit goodbye, man. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
Your stride's gone.
Yeah, I think they might have to like start over from their start over. Like, there's no way they
double reboot.
Yeah, remember, let's just like previously on X-Men. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do.
He was already doing something like that, wasn't he?
What do you mean, like in the like recap pages?
Yeah, in the recap, weren't they doing a new run that encompassed a bunch of books, like House of X kind of thing? They're doing another one.
See. You like another round?
Yeah, like another round of one of those.
Yeah, I think so. Oh no, I don't think they're doing like a mini series.
I thought they were, but no, it's okay.
They're doing like some sort of special event with all the swords of the X-Men universe or some bullshit. It's a very off-putting idea, which doesn't excite me in the slightest. But whatever, that's Hickman's run.
That's what I need. Another fucking 12-issue hardcover monster book that fucking just is basically a teaser trailer.
Yeah, to be continued. Which you don't get any of that from Age of Apocalypse, however.
No, Age of Apocalypse unloads.
Yeah, right off the bat.
You want to see Magneto be the leader of the X-Men? Here he fucking is.
Yeah, he's got 4 different braids. He's very troubled.
He's got a baby.
Yeah.
Which I actually thought that scene was touching. Because I'm a dad now.
Okay, so which one? Sorry, we're talking about
the Magneto and the baby.
At the first, like at the beginning?
Sends the crew on a suicide mission. Classic X-Men. And then sits with the baby.
Hangs out for a bit.
Yeah.
I only think about the end when, I gotta say I didn't feel anything about this story.
No, me neither. Well, okay, well,
I was just dead
like
to it. Yeah. But if I was going to pick a baby scene, I'd pick the later on when Morph turns into the kid to wake up Rogue. Mommy, you have to fight the bad guy. Or did we read the same book? I wonder if we read the same book.
Yeah, I think we did.
Oh, okay, all right, because you weren't agreeing. Or you weren't like, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do. I do know what you're talking about.
Gotcha.
As I'm flipping back now. I'm trying to get my... Yes, yeah, that's a cool scene. That's not touching. It's bizarre. The use of Morph in this story was so fucking weird. He like turned himself into Holocaust and put on a fucking top hat like out of the Alien movie or Spaceballs. Hello, my darling. Oh, fuck. What the hell? What am I even talking about?
Oh, that's Lobdell. Like I remember telling you that he was a stand-up comedian, And I think Morph is his sort of stand-in character in this story.
He's basically like he's he's like projecting himself through Morph. He's
or
like,
something.
hey, I'm doing something hilarious, and everyone's like,
yeah, in the middle of
please, Morph.
we're trying to survive here.
What's his name? Fucking Sunspot, Sunfire. Fuck, he hates him.
Sunfire, right? Yeah,
Sunfire. I do like Blink. In terms of X-Men characters that were just made by a random artist, basically. She's like a character that I did enjoy. I liked her bizarre father relationship with Creed. I don't understand how Creed stopped being a sociopath when he's well established as that. But that's okay. All that's fine.
Yeah, there's no real. Yeah, you're right. Like, what was it about the Age of Apocalypse that turned him into a hero? But then again, it's an alternate universe.
Yeah, it's an alternate work. It's a work. It's a big. I like Shiro. He was very cool. His power level was outrageous. I like when his power went out and you saw his he's overcharged him. He's overcharged himself to the point where he's destroyed his body.
Oh, is that what happened? Did they explain that?
No, they didn't explain it. I assumed that.
I think it's because Apocalypse beat the shit out of him and fucked him up. I think it has to do with that.
Yeah, he drowned him in blood.
Yeah, I think something about
the blood of his own city people or whatever. That's Apocalypse.
That's pretty Apocalypse. The rest of it, I don't like Apocalypse's costume in this story.
The color palette for the story was bad.
Yeah.
And I know that's because of Joe. We haven't talked about Joe yet. So Joe Mad.
Joe Mad.
He's the pop-up anime X-Men artist that set the fucking book sales on fire in whatever. These were the 90s, right?
1995.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where that guy came from.
Did you feel like he got a? Did you feel like he was good in any way?
I think you alluded to it in our personal conversation. Like, he's a pinup artist, and he kind of, given a static image, he'll make that look pretty cool. And some of his action scenes are all right. I think his cartooning's very good. Obviously, he can make characters express emotion, even if it's sort of exaggerated emotion only.
Right, which is something we complain about a lot of artists on. So that on facial expressions, I mean, even if your panel layout and your actual action and stuff is kind of messy, being able to express facial emotion in dialogue and stuff like that is it goes a long way. Yeah.
So I think there's that. Some of the action scenes are pretty good. He's got he makes an excellent use of his anime or his manga influences to convey action. But yeah, the panel-to-panel layout, I think, you were alluding to, not great a lot of the time.
His backgrounds were really poorly developed or not existent.
Yeah. And he's kind of a mismatch for this kind of... it's actually surprising to me how well he works given the type of story this is. A post-apocalyptic, dark, gritty, there's fucking death camps and death pits and shit like that. And he's he's really not just an excellent cartoonist. He's a cartoony artist. And it just seems a weird match, but it kind of works.
Well, he had some. There are some cool pages, and like you said about Apocalypse's costume being shitty, and just Apocalypse being shitty in general, kind of. I don't know. I could be fucking just making shit up in my head, but I feel like over the 100 million years that I've read comics, I can somewhat see a little bit when it looks like an artist got rushed.
Oh, I think he did get rushed on this.
He looks rushed.
Yeah.
Because he in that first book, when Bishop's climbing the bodies, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Did he do that? Fuck. Hopefully, I'm not giving someone else credit.
No, he did the whole this whole 4 issue. We're actually, listeners, we're talking about Astonishing X-Men number 1 through 4.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he did all of them. That
Oh
was
no,
his book.
Bishop climbing the bodies was Alpha.
Oh, that was Roger Cruz.
Oh.
Yeah, he did. I always remember Mad doing Alpha and Omega, but he didn't touch any of the main books. That was all Roger Cruz, and it was very disappointing to go back to because I thought that's where the ship was going to be.
No, and then one of the Kuberts was involved in all this too.
Yeah, he did Weapon X. Actually, Andy Kubert did Amazing. Adam did Amazing X-Men. Andy did Weapon X. Warren Ellis wrote Excalibur. There's Jeff Loeb has his hand in all of this. Mark Waid, doing dialogue and shit like that.
Yeah, you know what? They should have benched fucking Jeff Loeb.
He pitch hits on some of the dialogue on issue 3. It's Scott Lobdell plot, Jeff Loeb dialogue.
No, sorry, Scott Lobdell's the one they should have benched. I'm fucking so over Scott Lobdell. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he did like a lot of it. Like the Age of Apocalypse is more or less Scott Lobdell's baby. Like I looked at a lot of the books and a lot of them was like based on a plot by Scott Lobdell.
Fuck me. Yeah, like even I'm flipping through the 4th issue, and he did Apocalypse's headquarters, and it looks absolutely fucking ridiculous. It looks like the headquarters in that movie. What's that fucking movie where the guy cuts down the trees? The Sneed and the it's a Dr. Zeus story with fucking Danny DeVito as the main character.
Oh, I have no idea.
Anyway, you'll watch it eventually because you have a kid.
Eventually. Yeah.
It's good, by the way.
It's good. Check it out.
Remember the name of it.
Yeah. Anyway, it looks like
the
Lorax.
It looks like a fucking headquarters from the Lorax. And then when he does his characters are great, and like you said about some of his expressions and stuff like that. But then he's not making any effort to render any backgrounds at all. And you can just see it. They're just color splashing them, and then that hurts it.
Yeah, but I think everybody was rushed. Like, when did Lobdell give him these scripts? Is maybe a question to be asked because we're looking at by issue 3, it's like I said, plot and dialogue by someone else, and X-Men Alpha is the dialogue's by Mark Waid. So I think Scott maybe he pushed himself too thin. I really just want to blame Scott for everything.
He developed this whole thing, and you think
Scott, if you're listening,
I'm gonna give you a treat too. This is something that I fucking wanted to do because I thought it was fucking hilarious. Because I read this, okay. So what I did was I just read this to myself aloud, and I just like to treat you to it.
Okay.
So that we can taste Scott Lobdell's dialogue. So this is Magneto, okay?
Okay.
Fortunately, my mastery of magnetism is not. Shiro, listen to me. You must calm yourself. You must reassert control over your power. What the fuck? What is that?
And that's when, I don't know, that...
Do you feel like Magneto speaks that way?
I think he talks like Charles in this. Like, when I hear you say that, I kind of hear Charles. And he's doing his best Charles impression. But I don't know, Magneto's pretty fucking pompous. That is a shit thing to say to someone who's obviously traumatized and deeply out of control. You must control yourself.
It just seems like hokey. Like he's a fucking like he's a grade 12 teacher.
I think that's Magneto's character. Maybe you're just coming to realize this. Wow. Magneto's him and Charles. Jonathan Hickman, does a pretty good job of classing it up a little bit, but really, they're that ostentatiousness of them. Morrison makes fun of it when they talk about how people don't listen to Magneto. And it's like when you're out there doing your Shakespearean bit, people get bored. Anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I guess that's maybe now I'm thinking back to the way that Fassbender kind of channeled him in those X-Men movies.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he's so good.
He was very like I don't know. He was pompous. He was he was obnoxious. That's its own kind of that's its own. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm just don't have a good grasp on Magneto's character.
That's it, man. Scott Lobdell, show you the way.
Mm-hmm.
It is very like, his character isn't very rich. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like after Chris Claremont left, Magneto became kind of shit, kind of a non-entity, and just came back as villain of the week. And
well, especially like if you have to say that like the writing slid further below Chris Claremont quality, that's fucking awful.
Oh no. We gotta read some good Chris Claremont.
What the fuck did you just say out loud?
Oh. Okay, you know what? So you bought that like Mutant Genesis trade paperback.
Oh yeah, the big boy, yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited about the price of that for the body that you get.
Oh yeah,
digitally?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first 120 pages, meh, that stuff's fine. And then it gets into some like X Factor issues with Chris Claremont and Will Portacio, doing the art.
He's my man.
And then you go into the Jim Lee issues, X-Men 1 through 3. And it's kind of like the end of Claremont's. It is the end of Claremont's run. It's kind of like,
dude. You know what just hit me?
No?
We spent an entire podcast beating Image to death. We didn't fucking do Wetworks.
Oh, didn't they end up? Wasn't Wetworks in the? No, because Wetworks didn't show up until 1994 or something like that, so it didn't make the tournament.
It wasn't with the launch pad of Image.
Yeah, it was late because his sister died or something like that. Yeah. He had a tragedy.
Wetworks is good. Like I like Wetworks to this day. The beginning of it.
Yeah. I read the first 2 issues when I picked them up. I got hard copies. I got floppies of them. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's actually very good.
Well, I don't know. Willis is just he's such a dynamic artist. He's a great artist. There's nothing to say. He's very unique. Like
he's very expressionistic. Like his characters look like his figures look. They're not great a lot of the time, but like I think you use the word dynamic and he absolutely is. But he's it's like it's the kind of comics art that I like because it's like it's motion on the page. It's it's not solid figures necessarily. It's aimed towards.
Yeah.
It's exciting. You see the whole page and you're like, fuck, that's weird. That makes my brain weird.
You know what I always go back to is that one. It's a cover. It's one of the covers of Wetworks, and Dane, I think, is turning his head, and he's got this like look of shock, and Grifter's coming at him, and you can see Grifter in the reflection of his tricep on his massive golden arm. It's such a fucking cool cover. It's so weird. There's so much movement in it, and it's like, I've never seen anybody put that kind of image on a page. Even like really like clever artists that look for different like aspects and angles to show you things, almost like Frank Quitely does. Even he doesn't think of some of the things that Wills does, and or that did in his career, and there's nobody that touches that guy, like in terms of being like that's a unique artist. Like that's somebody that you see and he's onto his own. I don't see influences. I just see him. Like he's his own thing, I don't know.
He's the end of so there are some guys, like he's Portuguese if I remember correctly, and or Filipino. So hopefully I have that right. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong.
Wow.
But yes. I'm pretty sure it's Filipino. And they in the 70s there were a ton of Filipino, I want to say Filipino artists. They could be paid real cheap, and produced work by the ton. And Wills looked to them. And one guy in particular, Alex Nino. And his work is very abstract and very dynamic and energetic. Not like Will's. Will's is very modern and testosterone filled. But there is a pedigree for him. It's just sort of like a nationalist pedigree, or a specific cultural pedigree, which is kind of interesting to look at. But yeah. Anyway.
Well, here's some cool Will's Portugal facts for you.
Right. Okay.
Or Portasio. He is Filipino. You're right.
Good.
Also, for as far as artists that work for cheap, had a net worth of $46 million at the age of 56. So, motherfucker
Good.
got paid.
Yeah, fucking right. Holy shit. Good for him.
Boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, he's an awesome. He's a work. I don't know.
Yeah.
He gets the highest praise from me.
Okay, 10 out of 10. We'll. Yeah, man. Okay, so let's look over. Someday we'll look over the. We'll go back to Claremont, Portasio, Jim Lee times X-Men, and then some Wetworks. Portasio special.
Yeah. We'll do a Wetworks could be a quickie anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Anyway, back to the Age of Apocalypse. Joe Mad.
Yeah.
I don't know. He like you say, he's a pinup artist. And one of the best things about him too was his covers. His covers are great. I think his covers are great. I don't know. They're okay. They're nice to look at.
Yeah.
Like they don't blend into a wall of comics.
No, yeah, and you see what you see what you're gonna get. With him. Yeah. Age of Apocalypse. You see what you think you're going to get.
Yeah. Shoulder shruggy except for the random anime artist, which is the story of Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.